Somerville. This game is okay. I really want to know like how to like talk about like because like it's from the executive producer of Limbo and Inside. So I don't know like how much. I don't know what happened to the Play Dead team. Did they break up? Did something happen? Is this like the runoff of that? Like what? I
Mm.
don't know what happened personally with the team to make this happen. But yeah, so I just don't know if I should say it's their next game or if it's his next game, but it's very much styled in the way of those games. It's very much like a Limbo and Inside styled game. But yeah, basically it starts out you're a family coming home from getting groceries. You're in this like idyllic like Ireland like countryside or whatever, and you like go to bed. Well, you don't go to bed. You go watch TV, and then you wake up, but you're playing as the baby. So you're playing as the baby. You get introduced to the controls, and there's like lights flashing outside. You're like, oh, what's happening? Um, Eventually, aliens like a spaceship crashes through the house, and then
Yeah.
you start playing as the dad, and you get knocked out trying to save your family, and then you wake up, and the rest of the game is like you wake up and you like there's an alien like impaled in your basement. You touch his hand, you get his power, and that's it. You just kind of just go and try and find your family. It's so if you've played Limbo, if you've played Inside, you're kind of aware of how those games.
So before we get, what's the link between Playdead and the Somerville dev?
It's like I was saying before, it's the producer
Producer of
Limbo and
from
Inside
okay.
produced this game. So I don't know. That's what I was saying is like I don't know what happened to the Playdead team because they haven't made anything in forever. Did something happen? They split off and they
No,
made
they have a game in the works that they
Okay.
teased in 2017, and they announced a partnership with EGS. So they have another game coming.
Interesting.
Last update was 2020, so who knows what COVID did to it. But anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I just started to go down
No,
a rabbit
but-
hole, and I was
yeah.
like, what
Yeah,
happened to Playdead?
it's Dino Patty, one of the co-founders. I think
Yeah.
in 2017 he said he was forming Jumpship. I'm just reading this from Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. So Dino is
So
the
I
one
think it
that
was
left.
he just wanted, he wanted to leave and start do his own thing and do something different.
Gotcha.
He wanted to do his
Perfect.
own thing, so he made the thing he was making before. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
So what? Yeah. So if you've played Limbo and Inside, you're kind of just aware of how those games. They're walking simulators, but in a way that they're interactive, I guess. There's puzzles, there's interesting things along the way, but inherently they're kind of just like an experience. Like they're pretty easy to play. Limbo's a little bit harder. But yeah, so what I think this game lacks that the other two have is like an interesting story. Like inside you're a lab rat kid who like turns into like an amalgamation of creatures and you kill humans. Like that's cool. Limbo, you're like in the afterlife trying to like go past like all the puzzles of where you're like a little kid getting decapitated and killed. Like that's cool. You're trying to figure out physics and things. This game is just like go find your family. There's aliens, and that's kind of it, right? So the inherent puzzle here is you have your hand, you can change things, make them solid or liquid, and liquid isn't like you can walk through it. There's like this material that looks alien that you can see that you just kind of can change. That's just the puzzles. Some of them are pretty difficult. I want to say they're hard, but they're like, oh, like I have to think about this instead of dragging this from this point, pressing this button, kind of going. But it's I think the biggest issue with the game really is it doesn't like work consistently. Even after a couple of patches, it's still like I watched some reviews just to be sure I wasn't the only one experiencing this, but a lot of people are saying it like is the physics or the tacticalness like so like whenever your character is walking around, he's touching things. Like his hands are naturally going out to tell you, hey, I can grab this, or hey, this is something that's
It's kind of a neat idea. Lets you know that
physical. Yeah, it's like Uncharted,
Yeah.
like all that. So Limbo does this, and Inside also does this, but they do it differently. Where like they grab stuff when they're up close to it. This guy just touches everything, so it's like you don't. So it's like he'll touch something like over here, and then you'll press the grab button. He'll just like float over here and grab it. So like the the trigger is over here, and the actual grab is over there. So it's like
You're
it's
playing on
very
Steam?
yes, I'm playing on Steam. So it's very loose in its rules of like what is tactile and what is dressing, or like what is there to like not be messed with. And then that also combines with the physics engine. The physics engine, it's all it's not trying to remember the word. I think I have it. Procedural animation. So everything is procedurally generated for the characters, for things in the world, but it's very loose, like I'm saying before. So it's like it doesn't feel grounded. Like things get hit and they just fly away, or like your guy, he'll just like his body will bend like he's made out of rubber. Like there's just like weird spots where the game just kind of breaks. It like breaks that figurative wall that you kind of have above. It's like, oh, this is a video game I'm playing now. Or like you'll be in a puzzle and he'll bend a certain way where he'll fall off of a platform or like fall through a puzzle. It's just like, okay, I have to restart the puzzle because the game is just doing this to me. That really gets in the way of the experience. Like Limbo is, I hate having to compare this to two of some of the best games of all time, but it's like that's what we're working with. Those games have very hard set rules in the physicality and what you can touch and what you can do, and this is good, this is bad. And this game, it really isn't a lot of danger in that way. Like danger, like, oh, if I fall here, I'm going to die. It's more so like, oh, if I move this wrong, I have to restart the puzzle. Or oh, if I put this
Limbo and Inside were a little bit like that too, where it was more about, oh, I got to restart this puzzle section area.
Yeah,
Even though
but
you would
like
die, but
Yeah, the puzzle sections I would imagine were probably just a lot shorter because it was such a smaller game. I mean, that's a guess. I haven't played Somerville, so
yeah, Somerville's like 6 hours long. Yeah, it's just there's a specific puzzle that I had issues with because it's physics based. Like you have to dip a bucket. So there's also the conclusions to a lot of the puzzles don't really make any sense. Just like, okay, this is the thing. But yeah, like so one of the puzzles is like there's water that is covered in that goo that you can change and harden and stuff, and then there's a well across the other way, and it's attached to a rope. So you have to pull the bucket and the rope out to the water, and then slowly reel it in. But since it's procedurally generated, sometimes you're going to hit an angle a certain way, and the bucket just flies, and all the water goes out. So like, so it's like it's stuff like that. So it's not like hard set rules, like I was saying before. It's like, oh, you could just get fucked over by the animations, and that kind of ruins the fun. But it's not a bad experience overall. It's pretty good. Like it's really fun. It's really good to look at. If you're into walking simulator puzzle games like this, it's definitely like you're gonna play it because it's just like. Yeah, but like it's
there's
fun
just
to
not
look
there's
at.
just not enough there's not enough out there for you that you're gonna skip this one.
Yeah, so it's still good, but it's a little finicky. I think is the right word. Could have been COVID development. I don't know. God of War had COVID development, and there's also some weird things in that.
I
game
don't think you
too,
can
so.
you can even use it
No,
as
no. I was just saying that even God of War had COVID development, and there's some weird things in that game as well. So like it's just kind of impacted everyone. So I don't know. It's definitely hinky and weird. It's on Game Pass, so if you have it, not hurting you to play it. It's definitely not the worst game on there, but